Welcome into Vikings Now. I am your host, Patrick Siepman. Following that brutal 24-7 Monday Night Football game loss, I'm going to be going over my notes from about each quarter, giving some thoughts on some certain players. We're definitely going to be talking about Kirk Cousins and really how Week 1 versus the Packers was a dream scenario for the Minnesota Vikings. And then the Philadelphia Eagles game in Week 2 was a complete disaster. I mean, we got outgained by about 250 yards. The Eagles dominated in all 4 quarters. We had opportunities. We couldn't take advantage. It was overall just a very disappointing game for the Minnesota Vikings. But before I get into it, hit that subscribe button. I'm over here getting you guys this video out after the game. We're going to be diving into some stats and talking about our quarterback, Kirk Cousins, and why this Monday Night Football narrative is going to be stuck with him for a very long time until he somehow is able to overcome it. But Kirk Cousins, let's start with him first. He was awful tonight. You know, I've been a Kirk Cousins supporter for the past couple years, but Kirk Cousins just straight up did not get it done tonight. He threw interceptions. Think about this. He threw interceptions from the Eagles' 9-yard line, the Eagles' 19-yard line, and the Eagles' 27-yard line. That, at bare minimum, is 9 points. Bare minimum, that's 9 points if he doesn't have any turnovers. That would make it 24-16. And obviously, I'm not saying you're going to win the game at 24-16, but you give yourself a chance. The Vikings, after countless turnovers by the defense, or not countless turnovers, but back-to-back turnovers by the defense, getting the ball in Philadelphia's area of the field, they couldn't capitalize, and it was driving me crazy. And Kirk Cousins the whole night, pressure in his face. He kind of panics, and he just looks at Justin Jefferson off his back foot and gives this kind of half-ass throw up the football to him, and it just didn't work, especially on the last interception. That one really drove me crazy. He had pressure coming from his blind side. He sees Jefferson, just leaves it short, and Darius Slay got his second interception of the night when, frankly, Darius Slay should have had 4 interceptions. Darius Slay, I got to admit, he put the clamps on Justin Jefferson a little bit. Kirk Cousins didn't help Jettas out, but damn, Darius Slay looked pretty damn good. Now, my second takeaway of the game, the Vikings just couldn't run the ball at all. The Vikings leading rusher, it says right here, 6 carries, 17 yards for Dalvin Cook. Yeah, that was the most carries by a Vikings rusher today, but the most rushing yards was actually by Kirk Cousins, and he picked it up on the final drive, the garbage time drive. So 6 carries, 17 yards is the Vikings' true running back, leading rusher. They couldn't establish the run at all tonight. And, you know, going into this game, that was the big focal point for me. I said, let's have Dalvin Cook, or let Dalvin cook, and establish his running game, and it'll just make it easier on Kirk in this big standalone game on a Monday night. You know, I always say the quarterback who feels most comfortable wins the game. And Kirk Cousins, frankly, he looked uncomfortable all night. There was no run game, and the Vikings' interior offensive line, my God, just get thrown around all game. I mean, I understand it's Fletcher Cox, Jerron Hargrave, and Jordan Davis, but they made him look like the Purple People Eaters out of the 1990s. It was incredible. And I just have to say, the physicality of this game was a huge key to the Vikings winning. The Vikings couldn't match the Eagles' physicality at all. This looked like a D1, Alabama playing Alabama State in week 0 of college football. The Vikings got dominated throughout the entire game. Just physicality, it was awful. Now, I want to ask you guys this question down below. Predict it. How many wins do you think the Minnesota Vikings are going to win this season? Obviously, we're thinking big picture. But after week 1, we got the good. We got the, hey, everything's clicking. It's a new regime in town. Let's move on to week 2. And then it all comes crashing down in Philadelphia on a Monday night. You know, Vikings coming off these kind of emotional division victories, it always seems like they follow it up with a dud. So the Vikings, they lose 24-7. Kirk Cousins, 27 of 46, 221 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. Honestly, 50 of those yards came on the last drive. Like I mentioned before, Dalvin Cook, man, 6 carries, 17 yards. Jefferson, 6 receptions, 48 yards. But now I want to talk about the Vikings defense. You let Jalen Hurts look like prime Michael Vick. They showed a stat on the ESPN Gamecast at the end of the game, and it said the only two Eagles quarterbacks to throw for 300-plus yards and have 2-plus rushing touchdowns in a single game. Guess who? Mike Vick, Jalen Hurts. They made him look like a prime Jalen Hurts. And I swear, the whole game when the Eagles are doing that RPO, where it's either quick out to the or quick to the flat to the tight end, or it's a handoff to Miles Sanders for an inside zone, or Jalen Hurts is keeping it. It worked almost every time. The Vikings had a really tough time stopping this Eagles offense. And the thing that drove me crazy this game, you get that block kick. You block Jake Elliott. Chris Boyd's running. He gets taken down by the damn holder or the Eagles punter. And the Vikings, again, have the ball in Eagles territory on around the 30-yard line. Couldn't convert. Just overall, sloppy play from the Vikings all night. And I do think this has to shake the confidence level of Kirk Cousins. It shakes my confidence in him. Because I always thought this Monday night primetime narrative was kind of smoke. I never really thought it was the truth. Honestly, after tonight, and seeing how small Kirk Cousins looked in this moment, I gotta admit, this primetime narrative is going to concern me. And I want to ask you guys this, because, with these primetime narratives around Kirk Cousins, I always thought, his defenses have allowed 29.6 points per game in primetime games. So I always thought it was a mixture of, yes, maybe he didn't play well, but also the Vikings defense, or whether it was the Commanders defense, didn't help him out. But after today, do you trust Kirk Cousins? Type Y for yes or type N for no in the comments. This will be the pinned comment on today's video, this post-game reaction coming late at night to you guys following that very depressing Vikings 24-7 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you trust Kirk Cousins? Type Y for yes, type N for no, because that was one of the worst games I think I've seen Kirk Cousins play in a very long time. And this just actually came in. Kevin O'Connell on the Kirk Cousins interceptions, he said, we were just trying to be aggressive. I get it. You're trying to be aggressive. But when you're just throwing the ball up to Justin Jefferson with your eyes closed, Kirk, that's a problem. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, he threw an interception from the Eagles' 9-yard line, the Eagles' 19-yard line, and the Eagles' 29-yard line. That can't happen. That is inexcusable for a veteran in this league like Kirk Cousins. He had some throws today, pressures in his face, and yes, his lack of mobility. He can't shake a guy at all. Just very disappointing in the way Kirk Cousins played, because I really thought this was a chance for him. Obviously I root for Kirk as just like a guy, man to man to Kirk Cousins. I root for him almost every week because he is ridiculed by the media all day, every day. And I finally felt like everybody was kind of, putting their arms around Kirk. But then, the film doesn't lie. The stats don't lie. And he really struggled today. Tough loss for our Minnesota Vikings, 24-7, losing to the Philadelphia Eagles. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow on Overreaction Tuesday, where we got a lot of Vikings news and Vikings rumors to break down. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. You can go follow me on Twitter at Pat Siepman NFL. I'll be tweeting about the Vikings all year round. Thank you guys for watching. Let's go Vikes.